Imagine stepping out of your home in the year 2050, looking up instead of down, and realizing the traffic jam you feared doesn't exist anymore, because the road you're about to travel isn't a road at all. It's the sky. Flying taxis hover quietly above the city, gliding like birds between skyscrapers, landing softly on rooftops, balconies, and skyports built into everyday buildings. No horns, no red lights, no frustration. Just smooth, silent motion through the air. And right now, as you watch this video, that future is closer than you think. This isn't science fiction. This is the next chapter of transportation, and it's already being written. For decades, humans dreamed of escaping crowded streets. Movies promised us flying cars, futuristic cities, and effortless travel. But year after year, we stayed stuck in traffic, burning fuel, wasting time, and watching our lives pass by through windshields. Then something changed. Technology caught up with imagination. Electric propulsion became powerful. Artificial intelligence became reliable. Batteries became lighter. And suddenly, the sky opened up as the new highway. Flying taxis, also known as eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, didn't arrive as a wild invention, but as a practical solution to a problem every city on Earth shares: congestion. By 2050, megacities are home to tens of millions of people. Roads can't grow wider forever. Subways can't reach every corner. But the sky is almost empty. Flying taxis transform unused airspace into organized aerial lanes, turning chaos into choreography. Picture this. You're running late for an important meeting across the city. In 2025, that means stress, traffic apps, and excuses. In 2050, you open an app, step onto a nearby skypad, and within seconds, a flying taxi arrives. Doors slide open. You step inside. The cabin is quiet, comfortable, and panoramic. No pilot in front. Just a smooth interface and a reassuring voice welcoming you. Aboard, the vehicle lifts straight up, smoothly transitions forward, and suddenly you're floating above the city, watching streets shrink below you. The journey that once took 90 minutes now takes 12, and you arrive calm, focused, and on time. This is the promise of flying taxis. Not luxury for the rich, but efficiency for everyone. Early on, many people thought flying taxis would be toys for billionaires, but the opposite happened. By 2050, they're designed for mass use. Autonomous systems remove the cost of human pilots. Electric motors reduce maintenance. Shared flights lower prices. Governments regulate air corridors just like roads, making aerial travel safe and affordable. What once seemed impossible becomes routine, just like smartphones did in the early 2000s. Remember when carrying a powerful computer in your pocket felt unreal? Flying taxis follow the same path. At first, rare and expensive. Then normal. Then essential. The real revolution isn't just how flying taxis move, but how they change the shape of cities themselves. When travel becomes faster and vertical, cities stop spreading outward and start growing smarter. Commutes shrink. Workplaces decentralize. People no longer choose homes based on road access but on lifestyle. A quiet neighborhood, far from downtown, is no longer isolated if a 10-minute flight connects it to everything. This changes real estate, work, culture, and even mental health. Less time commuting means more time living, more time with family, more time creating, more time resting. Flying taxis don't just move bodies, they give people time back. And time is the most valuable currency we have. Safety, of course, is the biggest question people ask. Trust in the sky sounds scary until you realize how much safer it actually is. By 2050, flying taxis rely on layered safety systems, multiple rotors, redundant power supplies, constant communication with traffic control, AI, and real-time weather prediction. Human error, which causes most road accidents, is nearly eliminated. Vehicles don't get distracted. They don't get tired. They don't text. They follow optimized flight paths, constantly adjusting to avoid risk. Emergency landing systems allow taxis to safely descend even in rare failures. Compared to millions of daily car accidents in the past, flying taxis drastically reduce injuries and fatalities. The sky becomes one of the safest places to travel. Noise pollution was another concern. But electric propulsion changes everything. Instead of roaring engines, flying taxis produce a soft hum, quieter than traffic below. Cities that once echoed with horns and engines now sound calmer, cleaner, more human. Air quality improves as electric fleets replace fuel-powered vehicles. Carbon emissions drop. Urban heat decreases. Transportation stops being the enemy of the environment and starts becoming its ally. By 2050, flying taxis are a key piece of sustainable urban life. But the impact doesn't stop at cities. Flying taxis transform emergency services. Imagine medical teams reaching patients in minutes instead of hours. Organs transported rapidly across regions. Firefighters accessing hard-to-reach locations. Disaster relief arriving where roads are destroyed. In rural areas, flying taxis connect remote communities to hospitals, schools, and markets. Distance loses its power. Opportunity becomes more evenly distributed. A child in a remote village can access the same resources as a child in a city, because the sky doesn't discriminate. This is transportation as a quality. Of course, the transition wasn't easy. There were debates, fears, setbacks, and failures. Early prototypes crashed. Regulations lagged behind innovation. Public trust had to be earned, but step by step, trial by trial, flying taxis proved themselves. Governments created aerial traffic systems. Cities built skyports on rooftops and parking structures. People slowly accepted the idea that the ground isn't the only place to travel. And once acceptance came, progress accelerated. By 2050, flying taxis aren't futuristic. They're boring in the best way possible. Just another option, like buses, trains, or bikes once were. Children grow up seeing them overhead and don't even look up anymore. For them, the idea of being stuck in traffic feels ancient. The cultural shift is massive. Stories change. Movies change. The symbol of freedom moves from the open road to the open sky. Even fashion adapts, with lightweight. We're designed for quick aerial commutes. Architecture adapts, with buildings designed for vertical access. Education adapts, teaching students about aerial mobility as basic knowledge. An entire generation grows up fluent in 3 dimensions of movement. And yet, despite all this technology, flying taxis bring us closer to something very human. Perspective. When you travel above a city, you see it differently. You see patterns instead of chaos. You see connections instead of barriers. You realize how small distances really are, and how artificial many divisions have been. Flying taxis don't just lift people physically. They lift the way we see the world. The future of transportation isn't about speed alone. It's about freedom. Freedom from congestion. Freedom from pollution. Freedom from wasted time. Flying taxis represent a world where movement adapts to humans, not the other way around. A world where cities breathe, people thrive, and the sky becomes a shared space, responsibly managed and beautifully efficient. And here's the most exciting part. This future isn't waiting for 2050 to begin. The foundation is being laid right now. Every test flight, every battery breakthrough, every regulation written today pushes us closer. The question isn't if flying taxis will define the future of transportation. The question is how ready we are to embrace it, because one day, sooner than we expect, you'll look up, see a flying taxi glide silently overhead, and realize the future arrived without asking for permission. And when that happens, when the sky becomes part of your daily commute, you won't think of it as revolutionary. You'll think of it as normal, and that's when you'll know the future has truly landed.